What's up? My name is Mike Beast Boy Davis, UFC lightweight. I train here at Fusion Xcel with Coach Julian Williams, best coach in the state, honestly, 100%. You want some talent, come to Fusion Xcel in Orlando, where talent meets greatness.
Hi, my name is Kat Nelson. I've been with Fusion for 5 years now, and Julian Williams. We have a really elite level gym, fighters, and coaching, and I think that's why I've been able to progress and evolve so quickly throughout my amateur career, and now I'm a professional and I'm ready to take over.
You got a head coach who's lenient but strict at the same time. You know, it gives you the freedom to, you know, MMA's a career that's individualized in a lot of ways, but you know, it's on us to be good. He's not going to babysit you and hold your hand, and I think it's a refreshing style of coaching, and so I just love it. It's a great place to be, and for anyone watching, anytime you get in here, you're bound to get better.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Absolutely.
I've been training with Julian Williams for about 5 years now, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot from him. He's definitely got the recipe to success. I'll say that for sure.
Perfect.
Beat my ass today.
Awesome. What is up, mixed martial arts family? Once again, welcome one and all to the Under the Cage podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we are here in Orlando, Florida at Fusion Xcel, and we are joined by the one and only J Smooth, Julian Williams. Hey. Welcome to the show, sir.
What's up, man? Good having me, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on with us. I really appreciate taking the time to sit down and do this. Place looks amazing. Always looks better whenever I come in, every time. So
yeah, keep trying to grow it, you know, little by little. Yeah. Dabbing into some new stuff, some new type of fitness work recently. So it's cool.
Cool. Yeah, I saw you got the dance studio open up over
man.
there.
Trying to bring some women in this gym. Got all these smelly dudes up here stinking up the place. I'm trying to get some girls in here.
Yeah,
you know,
might get a little dancers into the fight world. They're athletic. They know how to move.
Mm-hmm.
So a way I like to start these things is just kind of let us know a little bit about who you were in the beginning, how you got started in all this, how that led to your fighting career, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, I didn't really start from any type of martial arts background or anything. I just got into it, just like, you know, typical seeing it, you know, seeing Pride was for my brother used to wrestle. So he we would sit down and watch Pride videos, and I would, man, Vanderlei Silva was like my favorite dude. Right.
Yeah. So
just seeing how vicious he was kind of got me into it. And then, throughout college, I was roommates with, Rashad Evans.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was my boy, man, and seeing him come up in the game, I was like, damn, this is, you know what I mean, really fire. So I just started getting into it like that, you know, little by little, training recreationally, and then moved on to, you know, fighting myself. So it's kind of how I got into it.
So did you start with jiu-jitsu or just full MMA?
I started with everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Started, you got to turn it. I started with, just boxing. One of my best friends, his name is James Taylor. he was a boxing coach here in Orlando. Like when I was in college, he started boxing, so I got into it with him. And then we was like boxing out of his porch, you know, like literally like
True
me and two other
backyard.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he opened up a little gym. It's called Cage 407. And I just started boxing there. And no skills, just real wild, just a lot of athletic ability. And, you know, we just, little boxing. I started doing jiu-jitsu with a guy named Renato Santos and started putting everything together. You know?
How old were you back then?
I started late, man. I started like when I was 24. I started doing everything. Yeah, but I come from a track and field background. So I was real explosive. So I like picked everything up fast because like track and field is all or nothing. It's no like you can't half-ass track.
Yeah.
You know, you're either like fully explosive, you're 100% your game, or you're not going to compete. So I came from that background, and I was just a real explosive athlete coming. I was just blast double leg everybody. Everybody thought I wrestled. I didn't wrestle. I never wrestled, and I would just like blast double everybody off their feet.
Yeah.
Just, you know, coming from track.
What's that takeoff speed? Kind
Yeah,
of the same,
you know,
same
fast twitch
mentality,
muscles,
yeah.
man, and it went into all the striking and jiu-jitsu and in wrestling, and so that's how I got into it, man. Just started training a lot and fighting. Trained under Paul Rodriguez my whole career, and yeah, man,
Nice.
got it in.
So you, I looked up your stuff on Wikipedia and stuff. I didn't see a lot of amateur. Did you just go straight to pro, or?
Yeah, back then, we did. I did 2 unsanctioned fights. They're counted as amateur.
Allegedly.
Yeah, back then, because they didn't have any amateur in the state of Florida at the time, which was 2007, I think was my first one, 2007, 2006. And yeah, so it was just unsanctioned bouts. There was no, we didn't wear shin pads. We wore 4-ounce MMA gloves typically. And yeah, that's how I started. And then I made my official pro debut with XFC in 2009, 2008. And that was like so crazy because that was like a huge show, man. It was in the St. Petersburg Time Forum. Man, huge. It was like a sold out crowd. Had to be at least 10,000 people there. I feel like it was. I mean, it was huge. The whole crowd was sold out, and that was a big show. That was my first time show. I debuted with War Machine. You know, War Machine.
Yeah, I remember War Machine. He made some history too.
Yeah.
Not in a good
I was on
way.
the same car as him, but a huge show. So I went on from there.
Did you get to meet him?
Yeah, I met him. He's actually not too bad of a dude. But then, you know, typically, I mean, I didn't know.
State of Florida says otherwise.
I know, but I was cool to everybody back then. But I guess, but he seemed all right. But I fought for XFC, and then my next fight, I actually got knocked out in 20 seconds. From a guy wasn't even good. I think he's like 2-7, 2-5 right now. He knocked me out in 20 seconds, and after that, I was like, yo, I gotta change some things. I mean, it wasn't, you know. That wasn't the only incident, but you know, once you have a loss like that, it kind of wakes you up to some stuff. So that's after that, I got into grappling like crazy. Like I was like, all right, and I got obsessed with grappling more. And my whole career was like a little mix of like using like taekwondo skill sets, boxing, mixing with the wrestling and jiu-jitsu. You know?
Yeah.
So.
But you didn't have any taekwondo. It's just kind of
no. I just would watch a lot of kung fu movies and
you
know,
cool
Jet Li movies,
yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And that was your only loss, right? Like you had a pretty solid career as a pro fighter.
Yeah, that was my only loss. I had some tough fights, but that was my only L I took. You know, I was definitely a lot into the grappling and the control against the cage. So I would take down guys, weather the storm, and just try to break them. That's like the best feeling is like when you can like you feel your opposition kind of like fading. You know, to me that's like the best feeling in a fight, instead of just like getting a quick knockout or getting a quick submission, is like minute after minute, you feel like the guy kind of like fading, like, damn, I'm breaking this guy, you know, and that's what I would try to do to a lot of opponents and stuff like that. So the end of my career on an 11-fight win streak. And then, you know, I kind of retired a little early, people would say, but, you know, I felt it was good. It was time. I had a long career. My track and field kind of broke me down. I ran track my whole life and then to fighting. So it was like I kind of had 2 careers, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Did you, Did you ever get to? I mean, people with your record usually get called up Bellator, things like that. Was that just kind of didn't time out right, or?
No, I mean, I fought for Bellator twice.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yep. I'm a bad researcher. I fought for Bellator twice at USF Sundome.
Okay.
Yeah, big crowd, huge crowd. It was the biggest crowd I fought for that in the Bellator crowd, and then I fought for M-1 Global, who at the time was the biggest promotion in Europe, in Russia. Huge crowd there, and so those are my two big promotions I fought for. And then after I retired, I did get a call from the UFC to fight, but I was already kind of done, and I didn't take it. Short notice, like a 2-week notice fight.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And that was, when did you start coaching per se? Just like, at what point were you starting to take on classes for people, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I started coaching when I was fighting. Like, I was already coaching like early in my pro career. I was a personal trainer at a gym. It was called SWAT Fitness, and they started asking me to do some MMA classes and stuff like that. And so I started doing that, and it was fun. I like coaching, but it kind of halted my my pro career because I was only fighting maybe once a year, twice a year at most. I should have been fighting 3 or 4 times a year. And so that's what happened. I started coaching a lot, and it would like pull me back from my own training. But it was fun, and got me to where I am now because I gained a lot of experience being a competitor and coaching at the same time.
Right. So was there like a gym that you were the primary, like that was your primary training place back then, or like where were you training? Because there were only like a few gyms in Florida at the time. There weren't that many big places with lots of talent on the mats. Yeah,
there wasn't too many gyms at all. The only MMA gym really was Knockout Fitness, was owned by like Paul Rodriguez, Seth Petrozelli, and all those guys were running that place. And then they moved over, and Paul started American Top Team Orlando, and that's where I was training.
Okay.
I think other people were. I mean, there was other people fighting MMA, but like not like the team we had.
Yeah.
The team back then was, man, we had a crazy team like Ben Saunders, Tom Lawler, Seth Petrozelli, Jason Patino, Jose Figueroa, bro. It was like Luigi Friavante. Our team was crazy. I mean, that was just the names I can think of off top, but we had like so many pros back then, and that's where I came up,
Yeah.
And
that's a tough room.
That room was crazy, man. We had some crazy, and we had a tight knit group, and we was hard training, man. It was good. I learned a lot back then. That's how I got to my skill set of now.
So what was the kind of motivating factor for deciding to start Fusion here? What kind of brought that about? What took place for that?
Yeah, so I was teaching at that gym SWAT, I said previously, and the owner at the time, he sold it to some other Brazilians, and they turned the gym to a gold Macaco gold fight team gym, which Macaco's my guy. Like now, he's like one of my closest friends in here. But so they sold it to him, and after they sold it, I kind of like left maybe a few months after, and then they ended up closing the gym down after a year or so. It's hard. It was in a weird area, and it's just it's tough.
Yeah, it's a tough industry.
Yeah, it was tough.
Your longevity's credit to you. I mean, gyms come and go.
Yeah,
you've hung in here
all the time. I've seen so many gyms come and go, especially MMA gyms. It's so hard to do MMA fight team stuff. But and they closed that, and then I was training out a little karate studio. I was just training my personal clients, and then I started my boy JT, who's one of the founders of Fusion. He's like, yo, let's check out the mall, the West Oaks Mall. I'm like, West Oaks Mall, bro? I ain't been there since high school.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, they got good spots. I heard they got good prices and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, bet. And we came up in here, and we just had maybe we started with like 3,000 square feet. And it was his idea to come in, and it was a good deal, man. And we just kept building,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to say, you're probably the first MMA gym I've come across in a mall, but you make it work. Because I remember I came up here the first time with fighter Tim Lopez.
Yeah,
and we came in through the front through the mall, and I'm like, "Where are you taking me, dude?" And then I got my butt handed to me in here. I'm like, "Okay, I get it. We're fair, but
Yeah. There was Renato Tavares in Vero Beach. I know he has one in the mall. I don't know if he still has one. And then I've actually been to up north, like Massachusetts. There's another one up there somewhere. But I've seen a few these boxing gyms because most malls are dead now. So they're like
easy space.
Yeah, like even this mall, like there's like maybe 1/5 of the mall is retail. All the rest are like businesses and like random stuff. You know,
law office and
exactly. It's like a chiropractic
yeah.
office, dance studios. There's like a whole bunch of random stuff in here.
2 dance studios now.
Yeah. Fact.
Yeah. So I guess when did you? How long ago did you start Fusion? That would be my question.
We
it
are
was a few years ago.
We're on 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah.
So we've been here. It's a hot minute now.
Yeah.
My son, same year my son was born. I had like the toughest year, bro. My son was born. I was starting a gym and I took a fight at the same time. So I was going through all that at the same time.
That's a lot.
Yeah, man, that was pretty stressful. And you know, so it was going through all that, and I you know, knocked them all out. But like, that was the rough time. So when some of these guys come to me with excuses, man, I'm like, yo,
yeah.
At one point in time, I had the worst, bro. So I don't want to hear it, you know?
Yeah, because it kind of seemed like, so that's about, you guys must not have been here very long, because that's about a year or so after when I first came by. You guys kind of came out of nowhere and really stormed the Orlando MMA scene. Like, this place went from, I hadn't heard of it, and to suddenly like everyone was over here, and you guys were like smashing these local events, and suddenly from there you started having guys in the UFC, and suddenly guys that were already in the UFC were coming here, and just every time it got bigger. What would you really contribute that to? Because again, I wouldn't call that like average. That's above average. Your growth here has been really impressive and unusual as well. So what would you really kind of see as the difference that you guys made?
Honestly, I put in a lot of time on the mat, you know what I'm saying? I think that I train with my guys all the time. And like, you know, that was a big thing of why the guys I have now are good. But I definitely got to give credit to Mike Perry and Jacare, because Mike Perry just stormed the scene. He was like, when he got in the UFC, it was like, boom. He's like, he just blew up so fast, you know? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I coached and cornered Mike through the majority of his UFC career. And then everybody just seen his rise. And so they started coming here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was just like, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, like, I went from like having maybe 7 to 8 guys to like 20 guys, you know, and it just kind of kept happening like that. And then Jacare came. Jacare was looking, he was kind of like already retired, you know, but he came in and he wanted to buy the gym at first. He wanted to buy a gym in this area. And he came in, he seen the vibe. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna come train with you guys. He came train maybe like a week later, and he loved it. And then he was like, yo, I want to fight again. So like, you know, I was able to be blessed to coach Jacare in the end of his career. And I think he did like 4 fights maybe. And man, just took off from there, you know. Just because Jacare was like all main events, all pay-per-view cards already. So his explosion, him in combination of Mike Perry for sure, led to the growth, the fast growth of the team, you know. Yeah.
So was that Mike was the first one that you cornered at the UFC? Was that kind of a different experience going as a coach to that show than some of the things you've been a part of beforehand? Or
it was much different because the UFC, I had a certain like, you know, way the UFC was ran in my head. So I went there, it was kind of like, it was a little different, but it was so great. And the first card was in Manchester. Mike Perry fought Danny Roberts, and it was like, I think we didn't fight till like 2 a.m, you know, in their time, because they wanted the time to match with the U.S. time, and the atmosphere, the crowd, everything was so different, and that was just a completely different experience, seeing UFC for the first time with Mike Perry. Mm-hmm. Now the average guy probably wouldn't be the same, but seeing it for the first time with Mike Perry, who is a crazy character himself was, that was my first experience. So
Yeah, he's doing really well now too in BKF, man. He's
insane, bro.
Yeah. He found his niche for sure. That's a tough sport too. Do you still corner him at all over at BKF?
I cornered his first BKFC fight, but my friend JT is just coaching him for his boxing career and stuff like that. Now, I would love to get him one more time back for an MMA fight though, because he's like a new 2.0 Mike Perry. He's grown and his work ethic is through the roof right now. So I haven't got a chance to coach him since he's had like this new Perry 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually brings me to a good kind of segue. One of the things you have in here is such a very competitive environment. Like, your guys in here are tough, like my stuff's smaller gym. It's all like, mostly play. But when we do our fight team training, it gets a little more hot.
You got some good fighters up, bro.
Yeah, thank you. But you've got such a hard work atmosphere in here with these guys. How do you keep that kind of safe? How do you manage that? Especially the personalities that come with that kind of thing, There's going to be crazy stuff that happens with that many high level guys.
Yeah, we've definitely had some crazy stuff happen in here. And I have, it comes from all my coaches were real competitive, man. So like my track coach, man, they didn't play. None of my track coaches played. And so I think they brought that high standard to me. But, the athletes got to share their part. If they don't want to push and they don't want to really get after it, then it's going to show. And even with our competitive environment, I still have some athletes that just don't bring it, and there's nothing I can do about it. But it's like a ricochet effect. So if one guy really wants it and he's getting after it in practice, and everybody's going to get after it. And, I've heard other people say that too. Like, man, you guys, like other fighters that come in, like, man, you guys got a good competitive atmosphere in here, like it shows like some of the guys, they really want it. They get after it, So plus, I think I just talk a lot of shit, and like it makes guys fucking get in it, So even a guy like today, like a new guy came after his name, but I'm just, I'll talk shit to everybody and make sure, but it makes him get after it. He was mounted by one of my fighters, Bubba Sheffield. I'm like, bro, you gonna let this dude mount you in your first day coming here? And then boom, he's like getting after. He's like pushing the guy off, and he got him off in like 10 seconds. So
it's pretty good to get Bubba off you on top of you in 10 seconds. That's a tough dude. That's especially if he's already got the top position.
Yeah.
No, your guys are tough, man. I have a habit of joking around and stuff when I'm out on the mats. I'm old. I'm not trying to make a career or anything. And your guys kind of give me that, like, we're here to work, dude. Come on.
So, no, I got it. I mean, you was coming after me today, man. In the last minute.
I only had a few seconds left in me, so I might as well make
you came in. You went from 0 to 100 in the last minute, man. I just had to circle out and play defense.
Yeah, you kind of kicked my soul through my nose right before that. But yeah, those personalities it's got to be a hard thing to kind of manage that with.
It is hard to manage, but like I got to kind of like let these guys, be who they are, and then, I got to treat, especially the guys in the UFC and the guys that make a lot of money. I mean, you got to give them a lot of one-on-one attention. You got to kind of push them, but you kind of let them, I hate to say baby them, but you got to kind of like baby them a little bit, because they're at the next level. They put in the work. They've done the curriculum classes. They've done it all by themselves to come to this point, and now they're at the point where they're making a lot of money. So you gotta baby them, and you gotta find their niche on what you want, how to continue the growth. Yeah. So each one is different, and they all have different personalities. You gotta train them and train them differently and talk to them differently. But sometimes you gotta let them get out their system too. So like, I don't know if you can see like see that hole in the wall over there in the blue.
They punched a hole in the blue?
No, see the blue. There's a little hole in there on the blue pillar.
Oh, on the pillar. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like one day, like Mike Perry got super mad at me about him. I forget exactly. I think he was going too hard with somebody. And I kind of told him to chill, and it was just one of them days where everybody was like kind of getting after it. And he got super mad at me, and he kind of like came back here, and then he took a sprint up, and then he just smashed his head through the wall. And you know, I kept that as momentum.
I thought that was a punch.
No,
I was impressed he got the height to punch up
he's
that
a
tall.
super freak athlete.
Yeah.
He got hops, bro.
I've got a picture next to Mike. He's not that tall.
No, he got hops, man. So he jumped up and he smashed his head through the wall. And you know, that's why, you know, sometimes you gotta let these guys go and let, you know, they are who they're gonna be. But yeah, but even that, I mean, it's good, man. You know, like you gotta let these guys get after a little bit. You know, you know, let them kind of,
yeah.
You know, sometimes you gotta let them just go, gang, let them bang a little bit, you know, but without them getting hurt as well.
Yeah, and you know that's got to be different because with the guys that come here after they're already in the UFC or have been in the UFC, that's got to be a little harder to kind of manage that because you know they've already been to the highest levels of the sport too. You know,
they are, but I tell them, hey,
your house,
it was your but it was your time, man. Like I'm not gonna. If you get in UFC and you're not in UFC no more, and you just kind of like you gotta go back to the drawing board and build your way back up, you know. So, you know, that's the way it goes.
So, how would you? Trying to think how to put it. Like, so you got like guys like Perry putting his head through the wall. Which, cool story. When I asked for crazy story, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
But how do you balance that with like the day to day? Because you know, one thing I had a lot of issues with in the early days when I opened up was, you know, I'd have these shirtless guys in there beating the shit out of each other and people getting mad and stuff.
Yeah.
And you get the girl from the sorority who heard about you coming in to take a kickboxing class. She sees that, she's out the door, you know, like they were gone. And finding that balance, you know, and again, I'm all amateurs. I don't have guys that are on that high pro for the most part.
Yeah.
That's got to be even. How do you kind of keep that separated? How do you keep them from spazzing out on the mom with her teenage son bringing him in?
Yeah, well, luckily, so at first I used to kind of like mix, right? Like typical, just have a class and mix the pros, amateurs, and the recreational people. But it got to a point where we got so big where I would just I have separate times. And if I do have any like regular fitness members in here, my guys, they can't wear a shirt off. They got to keep their shirt on. And I try to monitor that, but for the most part I have it at times where I don't have anybody that's just here extracurricular training. So you know the vibe is different. We can like really bring it like a real hard practice and stuff like that. But if they're at night, I just have my regular classes, so where anybody can come and just curriculum. And you know I talk a little junk, but not too crazy. I keep it real good. Try to be pretty professional. So I'm lucky to I'm able to have enough fight team members where I can kind of separate the two, you know, because I just started the gym just off my fitness clients. I was a personal trainer. I had 40 fitness clients.
Very good numbers.
Yeah. And I mean, it took me 8 to 10 years to build that. And I brought all my fitness clients as members as a gym when I opened it. And you know, that's how I first started. So it wasn't, you know, just fight team stuff. You know, I kind of just built over the years. But yeah, so I think at first, especially if you're trying to get into this type of mixed martial arts gym and stuff like that, you need to start with just the recreational people and build from there. And because if you're trying to just build a fight team off rep, there's no money in it. You're just going to fail quick, you know? So I still try to keep it more of my recreational members, try to keep the focus on them because you know they're paying the bills. They're the ones telling their friends and telling their family, you know, stuff like that. So you definitely have to keep it separate somehow, you know.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sort of let them know that the big names are here, but keep them away from the big names until.
I mean, but a lot of members they come in and they'll come to like our protein practice sometime and they'll just watch and like when guys like Lyoto are here and Mike Pereira here, they'll just watch and get autographs and kind of kick it, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So that's cool, you know what I mean. It's definitely a good selling point to have big names here, but you know, it's you got to keep it separate. For sure.
Yeah, I saw Pereira was here not too long ago.
Alex Pereira was here. He's been here 3 times.
Has he?
Yeah, and bro, this guy's a savage, bro. Like the first time he came, he was kind of sparring. He sparred with Phil and everything, but the second time he came was the most impressive because he came in here, he took everybody down. Like, yeah, he's known as the best striker in the UFC, right? But no, he came in here, he made a point to prove that he's gotten better since the last time he came in. He came in here, and every single person he grappled with, he sparred with, he took him all down with double legs. Even a heavyweight wrestler and fighter, a professional fighter I have, Alton Meeks, Alex
Oh,
Pereira.
he got Alton down.
Bro, he took,
Bro.
yeah. He didn't stay down, but he at least,
Yeah.
you know, he got him to the hip and stuff like that. So I
That's
thought
a
that was
big
really
boy.
cool. Yeah. I thought it was cool to have the Glory champ come in here and take everybody down, you know, to prove that he's working on his whole skill set.
Yeah. I mean,
You know?
he works with Teixeira so much. I got to think his grappling's getting
Yeah.
better
It was.
every
I
day.
grappled with him once. He just felt inhumanly strong, like insanely strong. So
Yeah, you can see it in his career. He taps people with stuff
with
that
his,
looks like it shouldn't have even
I know,
grazed
that
them, and they're staggering off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
He likes Phil though. Like him and Phil spar every time they come, and but I don't know what it is, but I cannot see this guy.
Phil Rowe.
Yeah, Phil Rowe, Philly fresh. He can't. This dude does not crack a smile though. You know,
I can see that. Yeah.
And Phil's the jokester, right? He can make anybody laugh. But like they were in here sparring, and before they started the first round, Phil goes to the center mat, gets on his hands and knees and start praying, like, please God, don't let this man knock me out. Any average dude is gonna think that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Pierre just like is looking at him like straight face, no emotion.
He's like, I'm gonna.
Yeah. And Phil's like, okay, that didn't work how it was gonna work. And you know, but he does mess with Phil. You'll see him like rocking Phil's shirts, and they're good. But I never see the dude crack a smile, man. For real.
Goals. Get him to giggle once.
Maybe
win.
once.
Yeah,
I
get him
haven't
to
seen
giggle
it.
once, you win.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So one thing I like to do when I do these things, we're kind of coming up to our 30-minute mark here, but I like to kind of ask about a good story, because especially with the people in here, I know you got 100 of them, but just kind of one or two stories that really has been that interesting standout thing.
Yeah.
And it can be back from when you were fighting, it can be as a coach, just whatever.
Yeah. Nah, so like one thing that comes to mind is one of the first times I was with Mike Perry, and when you walk out, this is how they used to do it. When you used to walk out in the crowd, they shut the curtains off and they block you off, but it's still enough to where like the people in the crowd are there. You know what I'm saying? And we're waiting there for like 5 minutes, and people are like cursing at Mike, like talking shit, like saying, Mike, you're gonna die. Mike, you're gonna get fucked up. You suck, Mike, you suck. And I'm thinking in my head, like, this is insane. Like, this dude has to go out there and fight for the UFC in front of the whole world against one of the best fighters in the world. And you got some numbnut, like, off top,
guy.
Drunk guy. They're throwing beer at him, you know, while we're waiting. And I'm thinking, in my head, like, yo, this is insane. Like, Mike is a savage, bro. Like, is it like this every time? And, man, Mike went out there, and he ended up knocking the guy out in the third round. But I was just thinking, like, yo, these UFC like fans are savage, and they are, man. Like, UFC fans are absolutely savage. Like, they talk shit to you online, at the event. You know what I'm saying? All stuff like that, man. They're it's a nut. So I just thought that was so insane, like, to have that, and to how mentally strong you have to be to deal with that, and then go fight one of the best fighters in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's crazy that the UFC doesn't have like staff to like keep some kind of separation.
Nah,
from
they just let him have it. I mean, I was surprised that he like threw like some beer or water at him too, like, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, man. I mean, that's basically the other stories I got, man. I can't really say because in case my significant other is listening. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
I've been in Brazil 3 times, brother. I can't really.
Yeah.
You know.
Happens in Brazil, et cetera, et cetera. No, I don't usually tack on to those, but I had a similar one when Tim Lopez fought this guy from ATT.
Yeah.
The guy from ATT brought up these guys from Miami, and they were being shitheads.
Yeah.
And when we were walking out, one lunged over the thing and like jabbed his finger at Tim's eye.
Damn.
And I caught it, and I was trying to just push it away. And I'm pretty sure I broke the guy's finger.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Just because I didn't want to.
That's good. That's quick reflex on you.
Yeah, but in my head, it was like, don't poke him in the eye. But it was like, crack. And then I flipped him off. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think that just snapped that dude's finger.
Yeah. That's quick reflexes.
Kept walking, and I never saw him. I don't know if staff threw him out or what. We just kept walking to the cage. But,
Tim's a beast, so he probably would have ate him.
Yeah, that or we'd have ended up in a brawl before we ever made it to the cage. So. Yeah, that was a weird one. But anywho, well, thank you so much for sitting down with us. It's been a great interview. I really appreciate taking that time and giving us that look into the gym here. Any websites, Insta handles, things like that you want to call out while we're...
Yeah, I mean, just check out. I'm trying to do better at posting on our Instagram, but Fusion Xcel Insta tag, and then our new sponsor, A Game Drink. They're local here in Central Florida by Claremont. Man, those guys are supporting us now, and it's actually one of the best sports drinks I've ever had. So A Game sports drink here in Claremont. It's dope.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I know we'll see more of your guys out in the big shows, and I will see you up in Tallahassee in February, sir.
You too, man. I appreciate you always competing and being so professional with our guys, man.
Yeah, man. Always. Man. I'm a big fan.
Can't say the same with other coaches, man. You know,
it's a sport. Why get mad about, like, you don't get mad at a game of pickup basketball? Why get mad at a guy in an MMA thing? As long as everyone's, go out, do your best, and
for sure,
behave accordingly. Cool. All righty. Thanks, everyone. We will see you next time, and hope you like, follow, subscribe, etc., etc. If you got questions, throw them down in the comments, and I will try and answer them. And if I can't answer them, I will reach out to Julian and he'll answer.
Thanks.
Boss.
Cool, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. Thanks for